inconsistent. Not at all. When Paul is saying that we have been given salvation, it is a gift. And having received the gift, our only reasonable response is to work towards imitating the example of Jesus. Perhaps that will take some work on our part, though. But the work does not save. We are moving to become more like him, not be saved. We must remember the words of Dallas Willard, who famously said, "Grace is not opposed to effort. It is opposed to earning." We need to work out that salvation. We need to continually work in that relationship with Jesus. When we make a decision to follow Christ, it's the beginning, not the end. We continually, all through our lives until we are with him in heaven, we are continuing to work out that relationship with him, to get to know him. And the more we get to know him, the better and more powerful and stronger we become as witnesses for him. He can use us. We don't want to be the kind of person who fails to respond to God's grace. And the truth is that Jesus gave me a free pass to heaven, as you as well. And he's been trying to make me fit for heaven ever since. Obedience is the path to Christian growth. And this sounds challenging, certainly for people who are not facing persecution. But the path to Christian maturity is the same in good times and in bad. Humble yourself before God, because God gives grace to the humble and resists the proud. So really, in good times or bad times, there is simply no other way to reflect Jesus. And fourthly, we find from Philippians chapter 2, what happens when you teach in Ephesians and in Philippians at the same time. But what we realize is that we are to hold on and to hold out. Do everything without grumbling, Paul says, or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. That sounds like our world today, doesn't it? And then you will shine among them like stars in the sky as you hold firmly to the word of life. And then I will be able to boast on the day of Christ that I did not run or labor in vain. But even if I am being poured out like a drink offering on the sacrifice and service coming from your faith, I am glad and rejoice with all of you. So you too should be glad and rejoice with me. And you can tell that the Apostle Paul was quite the preacher, because after singing the worship song, then his preaching becomes very practical. He tells us to do everything without complaining or arguing. Do it. And this is true for both individuals and the community of faith as a whole. To set aside complaining or arguing is a corporate discipline that is only possible when people realize the blessings of grace and salvation. We've been saved by grace. So what's there to argue or complain about? We would look like a different kind of people to the rest of the watching world, wouldn't we? If there were a community who would live together without complaining or arguing, they would shine forth, he says, like shining stars. You ever go out on a clear night, look up into the sky, and see the stars? They're amazing and they are beautiful. He says that we would be seen as blameless and pure, even though they would be well aware that God is the one who made them that way. See, the Apostle Paul tells us to hold on to the word of life. It's a wonderful and challenging command. But if we hold on to the spiritual or the scriptural word of life given to us by the Holy Spirit, then we will also be able to hold out the words of life, offering them to our families, our friends, our community, anyone we come into contact. And that would be a demonstration of God's kingdom here on earth, just as Paul instructed us to do, and today in chapter 1. See, the second chapter of Philippians puts us in touch with the ancient worship of the earliest Christians and the very heart of what it means to follow Jesus. When Paul wrote this letter to comfort his brothers and sisters in Philippi, he pointed to Jesus as their and our example. The Lord's example does not require of us miracles or supernatural living. These things are certainly possible, but they are not a requirement for following Jesus. Not at all. The heart of our faith is to follow the humble example of Jesus, especially in times of trial and persecution, when the going is tough. His example of humility and service is within our reach, and it is our calling both as individuals and as a community, as a church. Paul says, hey, life is hard, but here's how we get through it. We need to follow him as our example. So the question really comes down to this: whose example are you following? When life is hard, are you following his example? You see, we need to crown him Lord of our lives. This morning, if you want to sit or stand, either way, sing, listen.